All right. Now, we'll shift gears into the awards section. Um, this is always sort of a fun thing that you get to sit through a business meeting and then end up with some awards to hear about. So we'll kind of scoot through these, and then we'll get back to our talks. Just for kind of some background, there are a series of awards that are given every year at the paper sessions, all of which you could suggest people to and to the board. That happens, I think, in October, November sometime. And usually there's 3, but we've added a new award. I think 2 years ago was the first time we added Volunteer of the Year, so we get to see sort of a cool slate of awards this year. But we'll start with the Young Birder Award. The Young Birder Award is given to a person under 25 years of age who has contributed to our knowledge of Minnesota's birds or to the MOU. Here to present this year's award is Garrett Wee.
All right, how's my volume? Good? All right. Set this right here. Okay. So this year's Young Birder, I first met him on a cold January day up in Duluth. Me and some friends, we were trying to relocate a tufted duck that had been seen near Canal Park, as it would be an obvious lifer for most of us. The duck had a brief absence, and this year's Young Birder posted an update that he had relocated the bird just off Pier B. And he sent us a message saying that he would watch the bird until we got there, and I'm like, well, this is great. But I hadn't met him yet, but I was eager to do so. I was aware that he had earned a good reputation quickly, and he was especially known for his sharp eyesight. But little did I know that day I was about to earn 2 lifers, the tufted duck and a lifelong friend. When I got to Pier B, there was a crowd of people, obviously, watching the tufted duck. But my next mission was to surf the crowd looking for this young birder. We finally met, exchanged some small talk, and we got back to birding. There were some gulls in the area, and we both needed a foy Iceland gull, or foy meaning first of year. Joining forces, we carefully scoped through the mess of gulls, snot running down our faces. What seemed like an eternity was actually just a few minutes, but he calmly blurted out, "Iceland gull," and surely enough, we had located our foy Iceland gull. I was pretty impressed and even a little bit taken aback that he found the Iceland gull before I did. My thoughts thereafter were, well, this he's the real deal. He's pretty good. My curiosity was eating me alive, and I couldn't help but ask, "How old are you?" And he replied, 17. And I followed up by applauding him and saying that a lot of people have been really impressed by his persistence and enthusiasm in the birding community. Despite the brief encounter, I couldn't help but think his humble nature and already sharp birding skills at the age of 17 are going to make one heck of a birder. Since then, he's gone on to find many notable birds, constantly keeping us on our toes as we wait for the next find. Some of those finds include cinnamon teal in Jackson County this past year. Also this year, 2 black-necked stilts in Sherburne County. Also this year, a black-necked stilt at Rice Lake and in Hennepin and Carver counties. In 2019, he found a lesser black-backed gull on Lake Harriet. In 2020, he found 5 American avocets on Lake Billsby. And in 2020, he found a Connecticut warbler at the Wood Lake Nature Center. Many people chase these birds and added them to their life, county, or year list. His finds have led us to enjoy, like many other good birds as well. Since he kind of, I guess, for lack of better terms, revived Rice Lake and put that on the map, which later ended up yielding over 20 species of shorebirds this year for birders around the metro to enjoy. All of this has us wondering, what will he find next? But it's not just his great finds that make him a birder worthy of this award. He began working at the Wood Lake Nature Center, assisting with bird banding for spring migration. He's also helped with bird banding at the Carver Park Reserve and the Carpenter Nature Center, working with northern Sawood owl banding. He's now continuing his studies at UC Davis in California, studying wildlife, fish, and conservation biology. In addition, with working Sierra Pacific Industries as a wildlife technician, banding and monitoring populations of the threatened spotted owl. We see his ever-growing skills as a birder and stewardship towards conservation happening right before our eyes. He's achieved a lot already and demonstrated his knowledge of birds and still has that sharp eye for the skies. He's very accomplished and consistent and quite persistent when it comes to searching for needs birds or a foy bird. His communication skills and his down-to-earth personality make him impossible not to like. Knowing all of this, I finally decided I should nominate him for this award when he relocated some short-eared owls near Marsh Lake this spring. A small group of us gathered, and we were talking amongst each other. I waited for him to move quite far down the road, and I really made sure he was more than an earshot away because I forgot to mention he's got great hearing too. I turned to a fellow birder and said, "Has anyone nominated him for the Young Birder of the Year award yet?" And they said no. And we both agreed that he's well deserving of it. That birder that's gone a long way already, figuratively and literally, and quite frankly, has found some great birds along the way. The young birder we all know as Frank Fabro. Frank isn't here today. He has some finals, so he's out in California. But
Thanks, Garrett. The one bit of notes that I forgot to print was this award stuff, so bear with me here for a second, everybody. But our next award is the Theodore Velka Award. This is an award for special achievement in field ornithology during the past year. This award honors field ornithology in one of three categories: significant bird sightings, something written in a journal or book, or field research, project, conservation, or mentoring. I welcome Alex Sundvall to the stage to present this year's Theodore Velka Award.
How's my volume? Good? All right. I remember when this year's Voelker Award recipient told me about Paul Hugo Farms WMA. He had just gotten back from birding there and described it as one of the best marshes in the Twin Cities area, mentioning black terns, ringneck ducks, both least American bitterns, and yellow-headed blackbirds. He knew that one day something special would show up in that marsh, and he was going to be the one to find it. He spent hundreds of hours over the course of many months and a few years at Paul Hugo looking for that rarity. And on the 26th of May this year, I was happy to be with him when the two of us discovered Washington County's first recorded black-necked stilts there, a pair of birds that stuck around for only about 15 minutes before taking off and disappearing. While this was a good bird, nothing would prepare the world for what he discovered just a few days later. On the 30th of May, 2021, as this year's Voelker Award winner visited Paul Hugo Farms WMA, just like he had countless evenings before, he encountered an unfamiliar sounding bird. He recorded it, but passed it off as just a weird sounding sorrow or something, as he and the rest of the state were suddenly preoccupied by a black rail report in Anoka County. However, after listening to the recording again that night and comparing it to spectrograms, he realized there was some real potential that this weird bird was in fact the first state record and the farthest north record of limpkin. After sending it around to some friends and experts who all agreed that it was a limpkin, he reported it out and the entire state descended on Paul Hugo. After the initial discovery on May 30th, the limpkin was reported until at least the 18th of July, with over 250 people seeing it. Limpkin is the 447th species added to the Minnesota State List and the first to be added since the lesser goldfinch in late 2019. For the second year in a row now, it's my honor on the behalf of the MOU to present this year's Brother Theodore Voelker Award for Special Achievement in Ornithology to Ezra Hosh.
All right. Next on our agenda is the newest award in the series of awards for the Minnesota Ornithologists Union, which is Volunteer of the Year. The Volunteer of the Year award is presented to a person whose dedicated useful service to the Minnesota Ornithologists Union and or the birding community at large has made a significant difference and is a way for the MOU to honor those individuals who have devoted many hours and much energy to the good of birds. Here to present this year's Volunteer of the Year award is last year's winner, Linda Whyte.
Can you hear me? Thank goodness. Well, this year's recipient of the David Cahlander Volunteer of the Year Award is someone whose name you're likely to recognize. She's a prodigious e-birder, and she's contributed many times to MOU's notifications of species seen and to the rare bird alerts. She's both avid and diligent about finding and identifying birds. But even more than that, this person who could afford to simply kick back and enjoy a life of leisurely birding and travel devotes a really amazing amount of time instead to giving back to the world of both birds and people in countless important ways, and some of them very demanding and very nitty-gritty. For multiple years, she's volunteered faithfully on a weekly Raptor Center clinic crew. And as many of you out there know, that work is often unglamorous, sometimes tiring, and usually challenging, no matter how rewarding you find it. Well, the fact remains that like so many organizations, the Raptor Center counts on dependable volunteers like her. So she's been known to add rescues and releases to her busy schedule as well. Returning to clinic in the turbulent pandemic times was an additional challenge, but she rose to that occasion too. Along with all that, our recipient has participated in several Christmas bird counts in Hennepin, Washington, Dodge, and Goodhue counties every year, slogging through all manner of winter weather with crazy partners determined to do as much walking as driving. And add to that multiple years of the Golden Eagle count, and you know how dedicated she is to keeping tabs on our birds. In fact, as part of the bird banding crew of Carpenter St. Croix Nature Center, she oversees the lists of birds seen and heard each week when she's not dealing with nets and extractions or putting bans on birds. She even forwards to all of the crew members the day's results with additional information about any of the special species seen that day. Likewise, she takes the time and the trouble to share with the crew links to important information and events and opportunities impacting birds and the environment. All that is only a portion of the special tasks like data entry that she's done for Carpenter. It's easy to see why she was their 2011 Volunteer of the Year. She is definitely a supporter of the science of birds, having used her bird banding training this year, or actually more than that, on 2 current studies, Minnesota Migration Network and MAPS, which you've heard about before here. These studies start before dawn, the schedule is sometimes irregular, depending on the weather, and follow a very demanding protocol with limited time in which to be completed. And knowing the importance of dependable, trained volunteers, she even undertook in this past summer a weekly commute up the North Shore to Schroeder to help with those studies at Sugarloaf Cove Nature Center and at Wolf Ridge. So there's so much more that could be said about her activism related to birds and the environment. The bird surveys, the bee surveys, the bio-blitzes, all of it undertaken with an eye to getting herself and us engaged and connected to the well-being of the natural world and its creatures. But you can surely understand why, although she can't be with us today because she's honoring a previous commitment she made a long time ago. We're very proud to honor with this award the efforts of Pam Albin.
our final award of this paper sessions is the T.S. Roberts Memorial Award. The T.S. Roberts, or the Thomas S. Roberts Memorial Award, is the MOU's Lifetime Achievement Award. This award is for outstanding contributions to Minnesota ornithology and birding, with previous recipients having contributed to ornithology in many different ways. Without further ado, please welcome Kristin Hall to the stage to present this year's Roberts Award.
Okay, super nerve-wracking, like worse than the Oscars. It is a huge honor to present the winner of this T.S. Roberts Memorial Award, and I'm going to read it because I don't want to mess it up, and I'm going to try to say it slow, that it's really hard to control my enthusiasm and my overwhelming feeling of honor to be here and announcing this person. So, this person is a lifelong learner and dedicated contributor to improving our avian understanding of Minnesota and beyond. Known for a lot of things, but notably for their many years with the DNR. While at the DNR, this person was a coordinator of the Scientific and Natural Area Program, supervised the research unit of the Non-Game Wildlife Program, and was a director at the Division of Ecological Services. In all capacities, birds always provided her with a unique ecological lens, never at the expense of other ecological taxa. Our 2021 award winner has a wide and deep breadth of knowledge of Minnesota natural resources, but birds are at the center of her inspiration. While at the DNR, she was pivotal in developing the bird survey component of the Minnesota Biological Survey. She managed the Minnesota's Forest Songbird Diversity Initiative, worked tirelessly with the legislature to secure funds for these and other programs and policy issues. I know, I'm going to celebrate too. It's a big celebration. Honk your horns. And then once she left DNR, she worked with Audubon, Minnesota, which is where I got to meet her. And she developed an integrated conservation blueprint for Minnesota birds. She was also responsible for the data collection and rigorous data quality review of the first Minnesota Breeding Bird Atlas. Most recently, she's leading the effort in collaboration with others to compile and publish the atlas, the online version that's already published and the in-book version that's coming soon. In her personal time, she's served as Hennepin County coordinator for the atlas and has consecutively covered 2 breeding bird surveys for 40 years. I'm honored to be one of the over a dozen people, and I'm actually probably way undercounting there, that have worked to nominate Lee Fammueller for the Roberts Memorial Award. Recognition, you can clap. Go ahead, I'm gonna keep talking too. Recognition in her personal leadership within the DNR at Audubon, Minnesota, and the Bell Museum, as well as her personal commitment to conservation, is way overdue. Lee has, without a doubt, made many outstanding contributions to the Minnesota ornithology and birding in Minnesota. Lee is not an attention seeker, and attention does seem to find her, and the spotlight does seem to land on her. She's well-known and accomplished biologist, an eloquent speaker, a phenomenal writer, a thought-provoking mentor, and an amazing birder. Lee is driven by doing good work, solving persistent problems, and improving our understanding of our natural world. She is diligent, thorough, curious, and always quietly listening to both people and birds. So recognizing her dedication and contributions with this award is more than fitting. This is brief speech. I could stay up here all day. I would love to just have a party and talk about how great this is. And it's only a real glimpse piece of the work I know Lee has done. I know many of you know Lee and know that she's done amazing things. I want to thank all the folks that nominated Lee previously, as well as in this round. I want to thank the awards committee for selecting Lee, and I want to thank her amazing family for sharing her with us. So congratulations, Lee.
Well, thank you, MOU. This is a tremendous honor. Oh, thank you. Really a huge honor. I just wanted to take a couple of short minutes. You gave me an incredible opportunity to actually dedicate this honor to a dear mentor of mine who passed away just about 5 weeks ago. And some of you may know him. He's Dr. Eldon Gray. He was the professor of ornithology and professor of ecology, my mentor for ornithology, my life coach, always promoting and supporting me. And he was a professor at Hope College in Holland, Michigan. And he passed away way too soon a few weeks ago, and I always knew what a wonderful man he was. There's no question I wouldn't be here doing this today if it wasn't for Eldon. And I had a chance to go to his life celebration a couple weeks ago, and made me realize not only was he wonderful, he was just so spectacular, and I was so lucky to be in his sphere of influence and to have him as a mentor. And so it's a great opportunity to remind all of you. I know many of you are mentors for people in the bird community. Thank you for doing it. And for those who aren't mentors, think about it, because it really does make a change in a person's life. And Eldon was that change for me and led me to see birds in a whole different way. Thank you.
Thanks to everybody presenting awards and nominating for awards. This is always a really cool and exciting time to sort of give attention to some of these folks and projects and things, and it's a wonderful avenue to have it.